our last program is going to be our wonderful cooking tutorial. It's going to feature a video and some more kind of tips and information. You might recognize the lead or the host of this program. It's Trami Kron. She was here earlier today leading our wonderful poetry workshop. And she'll be here again to help close out this wonderful Community Day event at San Jose Museum of Art for celebrating Lunar New Year. Trami, as mentioned before, is part of Chopsticks Alley, and it really celebrates Vietnamese culture and art and sharing that with the folks in the San Jose area and beyond. So we're so happy to have you back here, Trami. It's good to start the day with you, and I'm really excited to end it with you as well. I'm going to hand it over to you, and we'll get started.
Thank you so much, and welcome to Chopsticks Alley's kitchen. This is my home kitchen in the middle of San Jose. It's country-like. You can like chop up banana leaves, you know, like those videos, those YouTube videos. So you know I'm kidding, right? So this is actually a kitchen in Vietnam. I was able to find this beautiful image to give you this feeling and this sense of you know, what is it like during Lunar New Year or Tet New Year? The point is to get together. And what do you do when you get together besides eating is cooking food. So when you think of the making tamales tradition of the Mexican culture, it's similar to that. So we would spend all night, men too, men and women and children get together, make these cakes, cook it all night long in this huge pot in an open fire, because it does take like 12 hours to make. And, you know, and during that time is when they reconnect, because they may have not seen each other all year, if they're going back home to the countryside, and they, you know, start connecting, telling stories. And usually the elders continue with like, oh, when I was your age, you know, passing on certain traditions. So we love this. Bánh chưng is what these little cakes are called. And before we begin all that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Chopsticks Alley, and then tell you a legend and how these cakes came to be. So Chopsticks Alley and Chopsticks Alley Art, I'm the executive director, and we are a nonprofit promoting Southeast Asian cultural heritage through the shared expression of art to foster greater understanding, support, and celebration among individuals with differing abilities, the LGBTQ community, elders, and the young at heart, of course. We also have a publication. It's a multimedia platform where we empower Vietnamese and Filipino Americans to share their cultural trends and tell stories of the leaders. Today, I'm supposed to have my partner in crime, Alin Nguyen, who is supposed to be joining us. Oh, I see Alin now. She's getting on. So as she's taking care of that, I'm just going to continue. All right. All right, let's talk about the story of Bánh chưng and Bánh dày. So Bánh dày is a different cake, but we're not making that today. So back, you know, a long, long time ago, far in the land far, far away called An Nam, which is now known as Vietnam, there was a king. His name was King Hùng. So he wanted to choose one son as a successor. He, of course, had many wives and so many sons, but he wanted to choose one who would be well deserving of his throne. So he summoned all of his children, all the sons, and told them that whoever could bring him the most precious offering for the ancestors, the altar, he will give them the throne, because they'll be showing their pious feelings, not only for him, but also for the ancestors. So the winner will get the throne. So ta-da-da, you know, here we go. So the princes traveled throughout the country in search of the tastiest and most exotic things and foods to offer to their father, and except one. So the 18th prince, his name is Lang Liu. He was the poorest amongst the princes. And he thought, you know, he's not going to be able to compete with his brothers to buy the most luxurious food or the most expensive things. So he kept searching and searching. One night, he dreamt. So he had a dream. And of course, poof, there was a genie. Of course, right? But our genie, you know, he's an old-haired man wearing the traditional outfit. And he's got this little wand, you know, all these wonderful things. Very different from like Cinderella, right? So the genie came and told him, There is nothing greater than the sky or the earth. And the rice grain is the most precious thing in the world. Now, use gạo nếp or glutinous rice to make bánh chưng. It's a green and square cake symbolizing the earth. Because, back then they thought the earth was square. Okay. It will be made with a filling called đậu xanh or mung beans and meat, symbolizing the plants and the animals living on earth. You will use green leaves to cover the cake, symbolizing the services rendered by parents to their children. Then use ground glutinous rice to make bánh dày, which is the other cake. It's a white dome-shaped cake symbolizing the sky. So, of course, the prince woke up and he was so happy to prepare these cakes. So on the day of the contest, the king examined all the offerings that his son brought. He was not really satisfied. But then he came to the cakes that Lang Liu offered. So when he saw the cake symbolizing such humbleness, yet represents the heart of the Vietnamese people, of course he won, right? So he became the ultimate king. He got the throne, and we live happily ever after, as you can imagine. So with that, we would like to have Radhika show you this, how we make the cakes. And then afterwards, we'll answer all your questions and we can fill in some of the blanks. Okay, so Radhika, if you're ready, let's go. Chúc mừng năm mới. Let's begin to make bánh chưng together. This recipe is brought to you by Trami Krohn and Alin Nguyen. And let's begin. This is your final product. Isn't it beautiful? So to begin, you're going to need some banana leaves, which you can buy in the frozen section, some twine or string to hold the cakes together. And these are cake molds that you can purchase online. And then a pestle and mortar to crush those peppers. This is sticky rice. You're going to rinse the sticky rice. You're going to need some salt. And this is the rice all nice and drained. And this is mung bean that you can buy pre-peeled from the Asian stores. And you're going to also give them a quick rinse. As part of the prep, you're going to stir fry some thinly sliced shallots that you will mix with the mung bean. So now you're going to use your cake mold to measure out how you're going to cut the leaves. Notice we want to cut them along the grain, so not against the grain, if you will. So you're going to put in 2 leaves that you already cut up in like a cross section. And then you're going to also align the cakes all around with the thinner strips that you also pre-cut. This recipe is good for about 25 cakes. Then you're going to scoop some sticky rice in there and then layer it with a little bit of the mung bean. These are participants from our live class, which were offered in early 2020. And then you're going to add some pre-marinated pork belly in there to add some of that nice pork fat. And then another layer of the mung bean. And we do flavor the mung bean as well as the sticky rice with a little salt to give them flavoring. And here you go. That's what they would look like all up close. You can see the excitement in our participants' faces when they do this. And then finally, you're going to top the cake again with another layer of the sticky rice. And then fold it over. Press it down so that everything is sealed nice and tight. Even little kids can do this. So anybody can do this together. It's a great way to bring families together, an event right before that Lunar New Year, and create something fun together and of course delicious. And it's a great way to pass on this wonderful tradition for Vietnamese families. In the olden days, or in Vietnam, we don't have pressure cookers. So usually we spend all night making these cakes, sharing stories, and then cook the cakes all night long in over the stovetop in a big fire that they usually make in the yard. And so then you're going to pull out the cakes from the mold and you're going to wrap it with the twine. So you're going to make like a crisscross tie, so that way we can keep all of the leaves together. And you can use any string really, you know, any for cooking, or these are special ones you can buy in the Asian store for making these cakes. Are made out of a plastic string. It's good for cooking because it's pretty sturdy. It doesn't feel yucky at the end. So that's what it looks like before cooking. Then you're going to put them back in the mold, right? So this is a pressure cooker that you're going to cook in the soup mode. It's going to take a while for the water to heat up. And in the soup mode, you set it at 45 minutes. And you put all the cakes in there, and here they are, ready to go and coming out. You see how the cake molds help keep the cakes together. So you don't want to put too much stuffing in there because everything will expand. And this is what the cakes look like once you cook them. And we're cutting it up to try it.
Wow.
And we like a lot of black pepper, so you can see there. Lots of black pepper.
Oh.
You can see all the different layers there. And it's just delicious. Here's our taste testers. She says it's really good and tastes authentic.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
And there you have it. We wish you a happy new year and thanks for joining us today. And thank you, San Jose Museum of Art, for letting us have our little workshop to show you how to make Banh. These are images of how they are served. I love all the comments in the chat. So we're gonna share a little bit more detail in person here, so that way, you know, it makes a little more sense. Hi, Alin, thanks for joining us today. You're on mute, so while you unmute yourself, I'm gonna share with the audience. You can buy banana leaves. So the virtual screen is like
Background to it works.
So if you can see it, which you can't, because of me. Oh, there it is. Look at that. It's in the foot.
You can see that now.
Section. Okay. And Alin's going to show you a couple more props that we have.
Okay. If you want to see, this is the mung bean that you can get from the market. Most of the Asian market would carry this, and it comes in the one with coloring and without coloring. So try to look for the one without coloring, which is better. And I want to show, and these are the strings that we would use to tie the end product at the end. But one of the things that I want to mention that is so important when you mix the mung beans with the shallot, and this is the key that brings all the aroma together. So be sure that you keep in mind when you're cooking the shallot, and I'll show you the differences. This is the color that you want. You see how golden, but just lightly golden. You do not want it to get it all burnt like this.
Not good if it's burnt. No. Start again.
No, right. Because then it changes the colors of the mung bean. So you want to keep it lightly golden. And the key to do that is when you heat up the oil, let it heat up really well, and then turn off the heat. And then you cook the shallot. That way it keeps that golden look for you because the heat still retained in there. That's all we need.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to show our audience, or?
And just so, because I don't know if you get to see the shallot, but this is the color of the little shallot that you want. Okay, so you peel that off, you cut it up, and then you would fry it so it'll come out like this. Okay?
All right, so I'm gonna show everyone the mold. So if you, Google whatever, these are like, like mousse molds, right? To make, and you can buy bigger size. I imagine if you follow the recipe. By the way, if you didn't catch it on the video, we use a pressure cooker, so it only took 45 minutes to make. So if you're gonna make a thicker cake or a bigger cake than this size, then you probably need to add a little bit longer cooking time. And you do not want the pressure cooker mode because you're going to blow up your cake, right? Pressure.
Yeah.
Right? So slow. But even then, it only takes 45 minutes. Traditionally, it would be all night long. And one other tip is do not fast or quick release, because when you do that, the cakes will also burst, right? So just let it, you have this patience, and the idea is you get all your friends and family together, you sit around, and on the video you saw Alin and Mai and our elderly family, because they're like watching us, fascinated that we can make this in 45 minutes. So when she opened the cake, everyone's like, woo, it looks so good, right?
One thing I want to also share to Tremi, we can always, when you buy the banana leaves, leave it as frozen and wash them well, wipe them well, and then you can freeze it ahead of time. Trim them all in good size that we need ahead of time. So when you're ready to do this, it won't be so tedious. It will be fun.
So to answer some of our folks' questions here, so Linda wanted to know if we cook everything first. And so you don't. Everything's raw. You just make sure you rinse the rice clean, you rinse the mung bean clean, you marinate your pork. You do cook the shallots only because then you have that stir fry taste, right? But other than
that aroma.
Everything's raw, and the rice cook, the pressure cooker takes care of all of it. And I also, for those earlier, someone asked, like, how do you make it if you don't have a mold? Well, there's this other shape. So the square shape pretty much started in the north, I guess, or south too, but the south picked on this cylindrical shape. So you can make this easily, by hand. So you just make it just like folding, making like a gift. You fold the bottom, you fill it with rice, so this is the other shape.
So pretty much adding to that, if you don't have the mold, like Tremi is showing, so you can roll the banana leaves along with the long grain, then it'll become long shaped like that.
Yeah, so you see this is pork, and we like the fat. Think of bacon fat. That's the idea. So this fat here will melt into the mung bean, and then this one I love. I just had this right before I came on. So I'm pretty full.
Gotta have them.
Yes, and then what's really cool is, these cakes are huge. You can't eat it all at once, so you can freeze it. And you can also fry it, because that's the other thing. I can't eat that much sticky steamed rice cake every day, right? Because you kind of celebrate that for like a whole week, right, Alin?
Yes.
Right? And so
3-course meal a day.
Right? The same thing over and over and gain a lot of weight. But anyway, so you can fry these. But yeah, so this is what both Alin and I made the cakes this year. And you can add a label. And I know that SJMA teaches how to make prints, right? So Chopsticks Alley, we've done that too. So we've taught folks how to make prints, and you can put personalize them. Like this one, I actually cheated. I took an old red envelope, Lucky Money, on there, and I cut it and I stuck it on here. And then I wrap it in plastic only to preserve that moisture, and it doesn't dry out in the fridge, but you can totally freeze this, no issues whatsoever. I do want to introduce Alin a little bit. Alin is a wellness advocate and a certified essential oil specialist for over 10 years. Her focus is bringing healthier ways of life through Vietnamese cooking by incorporating essential oils. So do you add essential oil to this cake?
Fact, I did on the final bunching that I made yesterday just for my family. I did actually add a drop, 2 drops of each of black pepper. So black pepper. How we, yes. So in the recipe, we asked for coarse black pepper, whole black pepper, instead of the grind one, because the whole coarse black pepper actually brings a whole lot of aroma when we cook it in the Instant Pot. So that's the key. But instead of adding that, because it can be a little bit spicy, so I added the black pepper essential oil in my bánh instead.
Nice.
So it's something different.
So the pressure cooking part you don't lose the flavor from?
No, because it's fully wrapped. And if everyone follow the recipe that we listed, if you notice, we do wrap there's another line of banana leaves that we wrap inside. What it does is that it helps you retain the water inside. So then when you cook, it's done, it doesn't get all soggy. And that's the key, that you want it thick, firm, but nice feel to it.
Yeah, and I have to say, the homemade ones are so much better. I don't know why.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure the cooking is the same. I just don't understand why they're better. Do you know? Is it because it's love? Cooking from love?
Yes, it's love. It is love. And one of the main ingredients that I find that is so unique, in our recipe, we don't call for MSG or flavor enhancer. And I think that makes a big difference. And you could tell in the mung bean after it's done cooking, when you get to enjoy it, the taste is very different. And I encourage everyone to give it a try. Give it a try one time and see, because it's like I had, before this, Tremi and I was just talking one day, we want to have a class. We want to be able to show people the way how we make bánh. And I came to realize when we start working together and creating this recipe of our own, it's amazing. And these are the flavor that my grandma used to teach me when I was little. But when you were little, you didn't pay attention. But now it's the key of how you bring everything together. And when you get to make it homemade, it's wonderful.
Yeah, the video you saw is actually from a workshop that Chopsticks Alley put together in January 2020, so a year ago.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, you should have seen like the kids making it with their family, right? Yes. It's like this amazing connection that they have. And it's so easy to make. You can't mess it up, so if the mung bean bleeds a little into the rice, who cares, right? The point is that it's like you're doing it together. And we saw, we had the survey out and everyone was like, yeah, I'm totally doing it. And, on social media, our little post is blowing up because people really want to carry on this tradition. Thank you, Aline, for sharing with us, a story of your grandma. Now, not everyone grew up with a grandma that makes these, because I didn't. We just bought ours.
I felt very blessed.
We lived in Saigon, in the city, so we didn't have this kitchen with the leaves. We didn't have all that. Look, my grandma doesn't even iron. Okay, so I don't know how to iron. Not every Vietnamese woman is all all this, like Aline. Like Aline's like the perfect ultimate woman, married material, that whole thing.
But we actually grew up in Saigon, but we actually had this big old pot. We just placed it right in front of our house, and with a few wood brick blocks, stack it up, and then there we go. We have our stove right in front of the house.
Did that, right? They just put
yeah. So it's like a whole fiasco. The entire neighborhood on the 20th or the 30th, a day before the New Year, and we all start cooking all along the neighborhood. And it's so unique because normally by 10 o'clock, everyone locked their doors and closed. But these are the time that little kids like me, before, we actually get to stay up with the adult. We get to stay up with the grandparents, watching this whole process. It's like 8-9 hours long. But that was the only chance that I actually said, I'm glad I was able to stay up with them and be able to enjoy it. And looking back now, all of those memories that I wish I could do that with my kids, but now we have the Instant Pot, which is makes life so much easier.
Instant Pot ruined everything. Well, I'm imagining it like Chopsticks Alley, right? Maybe we're gonna have everyone line up. In Little Saigon, there's a lot of Vietnamese communities. We should pick a time and date, have everybody go outside and cook their own bánh in front. I'm just saying, right?
You have to get a permit for that, Tremi, and make it possible.
No. Gosh, not if you cook your own food and eat it yourself. You just happen to be outside.
Right.
Everybody else at the same time. It was not planned. I think we can make it happen if we get, those Korean, pop, what do you call them? Korean drama? No, those Korean pop stars. What do you call those? Anyways, they put it on TikTok and then everybody does it.
Oh, we should do that too.
Well, do you have any other last thoughts for our audience before we wrap up our very easy cakes? Are there any more questions that we missed? I don't think.
Yes. I'd like to add a little bit. So on the final products, when you remove the Banh Chung from the Instant Pot, you need to make sure that you have a readily a cold bucket of water, cold water, and soak Banh Chung in there for a good 10 to 15 minutes. What it does is that because when you remove that from the Instant Pot, the heat tends to dry up the leaves really quick. So by soaking Banh Chung in the cold water, it retains the color of the leaves also, and it keeps that nice moisture. And then you just wipe that clean, and then wrap that in the saran wrap to keep it good for a few days. So then the leaves doesn't look all whitish. It still has that green color to it. Okay.
Very good tip. Thank you for that. Yeah. Let's see what else. I guess that's it. So, one quick thing. You can see the image behind me. That's a banana leaf, right? There's a right side and a wrong side, if you will, like clothes, like this outside and the inside. So the outside smooth part, that renders the color green. So you want that to touch the cake, right? So that way the sticky rice looks green on the outside. And then you also want it on the outside of the cake so that it looks green on the outside. That's why we layer the different layers. So the right side out to show your best to the world, and then the right side in to color yourself, green, right? So we want you to.
There you go. You have a good point. So I refer to that as face up and face down. So when you start cutting, trimming the banana leaves and prepping it, just remember the bottom face down and then face up. So then you hold all the grains when you wrap everything together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our class. Thank you so much, SJMA, for letting us be a part of your community day. And just really quick about the year of the ox, right? So if you know of people who are of the year of the ox, you know that they are reliable and they also value their friends. And that's how we feel about San Jose Museum of Art. Chopsticks Alley is a friend for life with the San Jose Museum of Art. And another trait is that the ox has strength, reliability, fairness, and conscientiousness, as well as inspiring confidence in others. So we hope that you take this year to inspire others to do great and amazing things. And we wish you a happy new year. Chúc mừng năm mới and Kum Hỷ Phật Trời. Thanks for joining us today.
And I would like to take a quick moment to thank everyone joining us today. And it is my pleasure to have Chami invited me to this Banh Chung workshop. It's an honor, really. I've never thought I'll be able to share with everyone creating something that is so homey, that is so close to my heart. Being able to witness that whole process with my grandma when we were in Vietnam, and here we are, we're sharing that recipe around the world and with everyone in our neighborhood now. So thank you everyone for your time, and chúc mừng năm mới, wishing everyone a prosperous new year and a happy, healthy new year to 2021.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. Am I unmuted? Good. Okay. Thank you so much, Chami and Lynn. Do you ever have the thing where you're smiling too much and your face hurts? That's what I'm experiencing right now. This whole day was really amazing, and you sharing that recipe and how it connects to your family and your ancestors and how you're going to bring that on to the future was really meaningful, and it made me very hungry. So I'm excited to try it out. So thank you for sharing that with us. We hope that you stay safe and you spread kindness and respect to everyone, and we'll see you next time, and Happy New Year. Yay! And the final thing I'd like to share is I know our director Sayer shared a few words on the horrific violence that's facing our Asian community right now, and I want to just end it by reinforcing that San Jose Museum of Art doesn't condone any discrimination or violence, and I want to make sure that the folks participating here or watching this video take away to spread peace and kindness to one another as they move through the year. All right, folks? So I'm going to share this last bit, but feel free to trickle out. If you have any other questions, feel free to use the chat. I'll leave it open for a moment. But thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to everyone who attended and performed.
Come on, you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Trami, I am so hungry.
I'm
Lynn, that was fantastic.
I know, I'm definitely going to try making those rice cakes. They look amazing.
Yes.
Just
Yeah. Make some bunches.
Drooling
Thank you,
over-
everyone.
Thank you.
Folks, I'm going to end the event. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great new year. Bye, folks.